This is Boxing Tickets and Iain in association with SB Sports Chaco. We're here at Evolution Boxing Club. Delighted to be joined me the first time with Conrad Cummings. How are you, mate?
Great. Good to be back on the mic. It's been a while. Good to see you, mate.
Definitely. It's been a long time. Obviously, I know you obviously retired at the end of last year. How's retirement life treating you? You're obviously looking very sharp and very fresh, as if you're still fighting. How's things been?
Good. Things have been great. Wee girl now, she's Ballymet, she's 2. She's keeping me busy, growing up fast. But all it's good. It's worked out well in a sense. I was drip fed my retirement, even though I only retired a few months past from the show. I was due to fight in November just last year, but I hadn't boxed really in 2 years up. That's what, even though I was good, I didn't fight. I've been sort of gently drip fed my retirement, so I'm okay, doing great. I'm busy coaching. In the schools coaching as well, so all's good.
As obviously it's good to see you sort of not at sort of fight weight and things like that, and probably looking healthier probably than you've been, because let's face it, a lot of but a lot of the time you're obviously so close to weight. Like I can remember obviously the Coalisland car back in 2017, you were ripped to the absolute boards, probably the best you ever looked coming into a fight, and obviously we look how that ended. Coalisland slipped in the shower and dreams were ended, but do you sort of, is it hard adjusting? Obviously now you're retired, I guess all you're going to think about is boxing. You boxed for 20 years. How's that adjustment sort of period going, particularly when you probably still watch a lot of boxing?
It's still funny, so to speak. I'll always be a fighter. I boxed when I was 9 years of age. I'm 31 now, and I turned pro when I was 22. And even before I turned pro, I was living in Dublin Irish team. I was travelling the world with the World Series of Boxing and Mexico and stuff. So boxing really all I've known from my whole life, so to speak, but thank God I'm busy coaching now. I've got my wee family and wee girl and stuff, and life's good, 31, and as time's gone on, I'm looking back with a smile and I'm proud of all I achieved. Okay, I believe one time there's a world title was maybe in me, but obviously I look back now, I had a great career, a headline, a boxing in America, and lived my dreams, so to speak, so all's good.
Obviously I want to sort of spare probably more a thought probably for your first amateur coach, Frank Irvin. Obviously has passed away 7 years, but he's probably the fundamental driving force behind the person probably you are today. Obviously I know your father's done a lot with you in your career as well, but obviously Frank Irvin was probably the one that catapulted you into the world of boxing.
Absolutely, Stephen. I started boxing when I was 9 in Coalisland, Cologne Amateur Boxing Club. 9 years old, chubby, angry, just a wee bit, just sort of angry. Maybe it's not myself. I don't really know, but Frank spoke to me in a great way. God rest him. I know he's looking down on me and always has been. He spoke to me about if I lost the weight I could be Irish champion, and I remember no one ever spoke to me in that way. They maybe called me chubby or fat or whatever, and Frank said approached me in a different way, and if not they put my head down. I remember I bought bathroom scales and I watched my weight, and I was Irish champion when I was 11 years of age, and I know Frank was a massive part in that, and a massive part that in my whole career, only for that, who God knows what I've been doing or what way I would have went, but that's for me.
You regard yourself as the little fat kid from Coalisland. I can probably understand probably where it come from. Was it sort of when you were younger, obviously, with a bit of extra weight that people maybe had jokes and jabs sort of at you? Where did that sort of come from?
It was, I had obviously if people joke with kids and joking, but it was my own family, my brother David, I hope you're listening, David, he used to call me Fat Rod. But listen, it was all love, it was all good, it was tough love. Never was like physically bullied. It was just verbally wee jokes in. But I to me as a person, I took it personal. But toughened me up from a young age, mentally, and but yeah, always back. I look back, and what an amazing journey all of it from that age to now.
I guess sometimes you use that sort of, the jokes as you had as a kid to sort of motivate you on, to sort of drive you when times get tough. You were going. I remember you used to call the little fat kid. And obviously now look where I'm at, so I guess it shows that them things can be really motivational for you.
When I was 9 years old and I was a wee chubby kid and from Coalisland, I remember saying first day I went to the club, I'm going to be a professional boxer, and 99.9% of the people laughed. I went on, I was 5 times Irish champion. He won numerous gold medals for Ireland as a senior international. He boxed for maximum in the World Series, got the semi-final in the World Series where he lost the World Champion in the World Series, Sergey Derevyanchenko. Beat Coalisland, the World Champion, Olympic silver medalist in the final fight. Turned pro, a headline 5 shows, he boxed in America, was 2-time European champion and was world ranked. So if you'd said that when I was 9, they would have said you're insane. Maybe I am insane, but what a journey. I'm very proud of all I've done, and looking back with a smile.
You're probably you'd probably say one of the dying breed that sort of has a really good amateur career. Probably the only one I can probably maybe think of more so here that had more amateur fights was probably Wayne McCulloch. I think he had over 400 amateur fights, but you had over 200 as an amateur, and by the time you turned pro at 22, quite a lot of amateur experience. We see more so now that there's not a lot of amateur experience. How did you find the sort of that amateur experience helped you for whenever you transgressed over to the World Series of Boxing and things?
Good. Probably looking back now, as time goes on, you see things a lot clearer of how things went and what went wrong, what went right. What was known as a bit of a puncher as an amateur was knocking a few guys over and stuff, and in WSB, and the way I fought was relentless and was boxing from actual. I fought like action, but that probably was my downfall as a professional. I was looking for the big punch, and that wasn't really what got me to that level as a world class amateur. It was my skills, and that's probably was a bit of a downfall in a sense. But listen, it's all part of the journey, and what a journey I had.
But when you sort of look at the World Series of Boxing days, I think before you were turning pro, I guess sometimes it's where people can see the difference between amateur and professional boxing. Like when people looked at you in the World Series of Boxing, you're going, tipped you're going to be a world champion and everything else. I guess sometimes all you've learned from amateur boxing, the point scoring and everything else, it changes from the professional boxing. Do you sort of look back at the sort of things like the World Series of Boxing and going, if I could have landed maybe a wee bit from the amateur days to the pro days, where could I have went? But I guess that's life, isn't it?
It's life, Stephen. I do believe, call me insane, I do believe one day there was a world title in me. I missed the boat for one reason or I lost and whatever, but I do believe I had the ability one time before I was old. I was a world-class amateur, beating Olympic medalists on a regular basis and mixing at that level. I think looking back now, as a pro, I probably neglected my boxing. I was a world-class boxer, and I was trying to be Golovkin as a professional, and I wasn't Golovkin. I could punch, I was a really good puncher, but that wasn't my be-all and end, so that probably where it went wrong. And then also I had numerous trainers, and what's the old saying? Can't remember the saying, but
they were trying to sort of bring something out that wasn't you. They're trying to turn you into somebody else.
Different, and it was no one's fault. Just maybe a couple of things went wrong, but looking back with a smile, had a great run. A couple of things I would have liked to went different, but what a journey.
I think when we sort of look back, you probably 2017, the Gutierrez fight, the Gutierrez card with Frampton falling through. I think at that stage, you had said that you were in talks to fight Billy Joe for obviously world title. He was looking at you as a challenger. We sort of look. I think everybody sort of looks back at Gutierrez and go, "Well, it's a pair of flip flops," But that was a strange moment.
I only take baths now because of that. Anyone that doesn't know what happened, go search what happened. But I was number 13 in the world at WO. Boxing out of my skin, was co-headlining with Frampton and Solid Odyssey. I was fighting the Polish champion. I can't remember his name, maybe you can remember, I'm not too sure. I believe I would have knocked him out. I think he was made for me. Would have put me top 10 in the world. Saunders was calling me out. I was in the cusp of humongous fight, life-changing fights. And also, I had sport Saunders previously before it, did very well. I wasn't taking the fight for a payday. I believe then I was well fit for him. Wasn't me the Maxine slipped in the shore and the rest was history.
It's probably one of the most brutal moments I can think of in boxing. I remember it clear as day. It was my missus's birthday and she went to the shop, come back, and I think Thomas Kane had broadcast it. It was going, can't be true. And then obviously the stories are spreading that he got jumped in Sandy Row and things like that because Carl had initially missed weight. But obviously it's a really strange and unique part of boxing, I guess, sometimes, until you're in the ring, it's never guaranteed.
13-week camp I done in London. Brilliant camps, sparring, weight training, sprints. Spent thousands in preparation and made weight comfortable, which I hadn't done towards the end of my career there. I think it was my moment. Even though Carl was the main guy, I'm not naive. I know he was the main star of the show, but it was my time to steal the show. I was the co-headline. I was the WWE European champion, and my time to fight, and I've sold it obviously and shine and just taken away from me. But listen, that was all is well now.
Probably another bad moment for you, probably in boxing, the Roddy Middag defeat. I still to this day think you're completely robbed. You had that fight clearly won, but obviously moments like that in boxing, did it sort of like you lose a part of yourself sort of within that fight where you've done everything that you have and you still come away with defeat?
I fought Roddy Middag. It's funny. My father actually mentioned that fight on the way down the car. It was just small talking. It was 12-0 I think at the time, or 11-0, fighting for an IBF Intercontinental belt, but I got me world rank with IBF. Fought a very good German, Roddy Middag. His record was 30-1 or 30-2, and I was only really 11-0. It was a big jump up, and I boxed really well. I know I'd very early boxed. Boxed, but hadn't a mark on my face. Didn't stand with him, which I used to love doing. And boxed, his face was looked like he had a car accident. He was boxed at him really. I thought I won 8 or 9 of the 10 rounds, and to get robbed on a home show was very strange. But
I think we've seen sometimes, I remember Ryan Burnett's obviously world title fight against Lee Haskins where judges got the fighters mixed up. We always wondered and going, did they get the two mixed up and thinking that Roddy Middag was you?
Yeah, we sort of looked like with the beard and we were sort of big lads and it was a really, really strange one. Fighting for an ABF vacant belt on a home cyclone show against the German. Boxed well, probably boxed 2 with him myself. Probably could have put the foot down a bit more and made him more secure, but thought I won the fight as well. Sorry, I can't speak. As everyone else thought I won the fight comfortably, and don't know, but it's just a strange one, that one. But
some of your probably most proudest moments, I can remember obviously seeing camps and stuff like that, but obviously really good mates with Carl Frampton and Josh Taylor. You had some amazing memories. I think was it? Did you burn Josh's socks? Was it in America?
That was Carl. I was the video man. Carl burned his socks. Hank, his socks were like Sports Chaco cheap pound socks. They were them, and they were white, but they were like washed out. They were blackish greyish. And Carl said they were disgraced to our team, and Carl burned them, and I videoed it and we tweeted it. Some crack over the years, lads, very good friends with both of them. Me and Carl were at Josh's wedding there recently. We had some crack. We shared a few stories off camera when no one was there. Some crack. 2 good friends still. Texting Carl there just yesterday. We're all good mates. They're still in contact and with some good times.
It's them memories, I guess, sometimes that keep you going. Obviously, through hard struggles at camps and everything else. You obviously shared a house with Carl and Stephen Ward in Camp in Manchester as well. Obviously, we've seen some of that in some of the programmes, and who was doing the housework and everything else. But I'm sure now in retirement, everything comes back, memories of boxing and things like that. But what amazing memories to have.
You miss it. It was amazing. Looking back, when I was 22, I turned pro. I was living Kings Road with Carl Frampton, who was a big story. Even at the time I was 22 and I was just a young lad, turned pro, and we were sharing 2 single beds, and they were touching each other like it was like a double bed. But he's a good friend. He's kept me right. He's had my back and in numerous ways, and don't want to get into too much, but he's a good friend. He would even though he jokes on screen and stuff, I know, but when he's there to be there for he's good mate. And Josh Stewart was bad there, Josh Taylor, and with some crack, but it was just like it was years ago.
I guess that's them wee memories to say keep you going. Obviously your battles with Luke Keeler as well, obviously your domestic battles. You obviously fought Fred O'Malley in the past as well, but
battles have a big scar across my eyelid from the second fight with Keeler. Hit me in the end of the first or second round. I couldn't see for 9 rounds out of one eye. So Jimmy Moore, my coach today, was going to pull me out after 4 or 5 rounds because I was losing. I couldn't see, and I said, "Well, if you throw it all, and I'll kick it out." So I battled on, but looking back, probably should have just pulled it because I was losing the fight, and in essence, really just put miles on my clock. You know, them bad losses. But listen, well done. Me on fought for world title, so. Win some, lose some.
We were sort of hoping to see Luke Keeler obviously back in action. Obviously, I speak to him on occasions, and he's sort of going, well, maybe come back. But I guess sometimes when you're out of the ring for so long, it's like you get so used to living the normal lifestyle, not having to make weight, not having to do the training. And if you can, I guess sometimes if you can stay away from the ring and you have money behind you, happy days.
Luke beat me, foreign scoring. He only fought for world title in Dada. He lost, but at least he went 9 rounds. He gave it a good go. I'm sure he could probably a nice cheap head in there, and he's probably comfortable. Don't know what his plans are, but I thought he would have came back, give it another go, you know. But I thought it made sense, probably him and Quigley, but that's another fight that I believe that would have been a great fight. We missed the boat in that fight. Me and Quigley would have been a cracking build up as well and fight. But some fights didn't materialise for one reason or another. But that's life, I guess.
Fatherhood probably your proudest moment today. Obviously, how is it coping with a toddler running about? Do you feel like you're back in camp again? Obviously,
camp's easier.
Camp's easier.
I never had a kid, you know. Obviously, in camp as a fighter, and Carl did and stuff. And Carl used to be joking like, you know, camp's easier than, you know. I didn't really understand, but the hard work. But the best little thing they ever have me, you know, was I was 2-time WO European champion, but I did a ring in boxing that I dreamed of. I didn't fight for world title, obviously, but I have a world title now, so I'm all good.
Definitely, I see. Obviously, you've been training with your wee one as well. Would you like to get her into boxing in the future? I guess sometimes maybe fundamentals to look after herself and things, but would I guess, you know, Katie Taylor's our greatest ever boxer. Would you like her to follow in Katie's steps, or I guess leave it sometimes down to your child to decide what they want to do themselves?
Katie Taylor's the epitome of an amazing athlete. What an amazing role model for all young kids. But no, I don't want my wee girl to box. Boxing is a brutal sport and business, and I did enough for her to be proud of, and I think we'll leave it at that. But if it's up there, she'll be her own wee girl. But she's starting to speak now. She's 2, and if you said to her, "Do you want to play football or do you want to box like Daddy?" She'll say, "Football." so I think she wants to play football. So we'll see.
Yeah, why not? If it's something that makes you money and it means you can retire even sooner, happy days. Obviously, before you retired, you'd obviously linked up with Iain here in Evolution. We've obviously seen what he's sort of done for Anto Cacace, obviously, in the last couple of years. Is it sort of something you wish you could have maybe had a chance to fruition, I guess? Iain's younger, he's a nice fresh approach to boxing. Is it sort of maybe one regret that you maybe didn't have more time to sort of, as a boxer with him? Because I guess sometimes that change and someone younger than you can bring out the best in you sometimes.
Absolutely, I have no issue saying that. My last camp was probably the best camp I've had in years. I'm not just fighters always say that, and obviously I didn't fight because I retired healthy with advice from my medical. Everything's good, but just walk away healthy, which I have done in the meantime. But what an amazing camp I had with Iain. It was the best. Like in camps you have good days and bad days, but for 8 weeks with Iain or whatever it was, every day was a good day, and we talked about things, and I was going to move up to super middleweight, and I was killing myself to make middle there for the last few fights, and I decided to move up for the comeback. And an amazing camp, with a great camp. Everything was done. The shorts were made. I had my wee girl's name on the. I normally have my name, but it was the first time we were having her name on the waistband, and I didn't use them, and I believe that was a blessing from above. And I'm getting out healthy, so I have in the meantime.
It's definitely the main thing nowadays. Obviously, getting out was obviously everything intact.
I think it's intact. I think.
Obviously, life after boxing, you're sort of still staying. You know, you're up here today. Obviously, winding up Anto and everything else. But
what a club! my man Anto was down training with him. Obviously before retired, he's fighting now for the ABU World title. Going there, Patchy! I'm down for a sub for a few quid now. He's a big payday coming, so
give you a few pounds.
I get a few quid here of him. No, I'm delighted. Anto's a good friend of mine. I know Anto a long time, even from my amateur days, and I trained Anto in London, and I've always said it, and I'm still going to say it today. He's still the most naturally talented fighter I've ever seen in person. He's unreal. I don't have no issue saying that. He's a special fighter. Can box in either stance, which very, very. Some fighters can box in different stances. Okay, he boxes brilliant in both stances. Punches like a horse. Punches very hard. If anyone doesn't understand what that means, ticks all the boxes. Can take a shot. Unreal, and I really hope. I'm really excited. I'm down to see him today and see Iain, my man Iain, my good friend as well, coach. And I'm buzzing for him. Hope he wins this IBO World title and gives me a few quid to lay in there.
You have to lay a few quid, it'd be nice. But obviously your life after boxing sort of, I guess, keeping you close to the ring. You're obviously very successful, obviously doing your personal training. I believe you're maybe going to potentially take up some coaching as well. Is the aim to sort of teach amateurs and maybe get into professional boxing as a coach some days? What's the sort of plans behind that? Would you like to train the next generation coming through?
Well, I'm coaching one-to-one boxing, like sort of PT-ish. Really busy with that, enjoying that. In my head, it was always going to be a professional coach. Don't know. I haven't made a solid decision on that yet, but I'm really busy. I'm in schools coaching. I've started the Prince's Trust for kids that came from sort of difficult background, helping them and stuff. And it's very rewarding for me as a person to do that, to help them. Because the kids, they don't want to learn through books, so I'm teaching them boxing and stuff, and it's amazing, very, very rewarding. But the end goal is probably to take on fighters. I've a couple of lads I'm working with now, not really publicly, but just helping them out a bit and stuff. But that's probably going to be the end goal. I'm where I want to be, but I love boxing. Boxing's I love, and want to be involved. And I was European champion, but hopefully someday I can make a world champion.
I think that's everybody's dream. It's teaching the next generation their white ways.
Move their head a bit more than me, they'll be a world champion. But everything else was good.
Oh well, you obviously had you had a really good amateur career, and I'd say everything else, and I guess it's just that. But of luck sometimes you need it. If that good era is sure hadn't happened, you could have been a world champion. You may still have been boxing at this stage. You just don't know.
It's one of my Instagram. You can still see it. Like Saunders was calling me out, I wasn't calling him out. So that's where I was at one stage. It wasn't to be for one reason or another. But you sometimes look back and try and connect the dots, and you can never connect the dots going forward. You can go back. But sometimes you think, I wish this didn't happen and that didn't happen, but I don't do it anymore because everything led me to my daughter, Ballymay Cummings, so everything led me where I need to be.
Yep, exactly, and I guess everything happens for a reason. Want to obviously leave you finally, and obviously for obviously younger boxers, obviously I know you've put out some tips and stuff there for them before, but what sort of tips would you give? We're seeing a lot of amateur boxers turning over very early nowadays. What sort of tips would you give them? Because I know in the past you said the amateurs don't even think of turning pro unless you get money behind you, because boxing can be a brutal sport. Like,
you have to be, I was on the Irish team, was on funding, I was in Sporting, I was in funding, I was getting money from the Maxine girls. And the thing about it is, when you turn pro, whenever I was an amateur and boxing full time, everything was paid for me. Your accommodation, your flights, your food, your tracksuit, your physio. You can't even spend your money because everything's covered. You turn pro, the manager's taking a cut, the trainer, the levies, the British board, your camps, your accommodation, your food, your tracksuits. It's a road with no return, so unless you're a very sought after amateur with somebody that's going to back you financially, take it in, and there's no return. Once you're in. But I don't regret my season. I had an amazing career. Thank God I'm not struggling. I have a few quid in the bank and all is good. So but any amateurs on the way up, I want to be Floyd Mayweather and drive rules, race cars. That does not exist, and wise up.
We see a lot of this nowadays with the Instagram famous, you know, someone sort of taking pictures behind really flashy cars, but they're not living that lifestyle.
Well, that's the Anto, Cacace now, he's fighting his big World Highland down. Tell you, come a bag, want to fill up with a bit of cash from Anto.
Take the cash back to Coalisland.
I take it back to Coalisland, buy Coalisland. But I know just take a time and, but each people are individuals, like, my dream is never an Olympic medal. Most people, 99% of boxers is. My dream is always to be a world champion. Professional, I wasn't. I was European champion, which was still a great achievement. But that was my dream. So I went after that. But if your dreams that, stay after that and go after that. And if the money comes, great. And if it doesn't, don't chase it.
Well, listen, obviously, thank you very much for obviously sitting down and having a chat with us. It's really great, I guess. Obviously, we followed your career very closely. It's obviously good to see you healthy, good to see you happy. And obviously, I'm sure we're going to catch up again in the future at some stage.
Good to catch up, Stephen. Thanks for all your interviews and support and all that stuff over my career. It was amazing. We had close one stage where we were falling out. We were like boyfriend and girlfriend. We had a few bickerings over the years, but all's good now. And good to see you doing well too, and thank you for everything, dude, and take care. I
want to ask you one final question. Funny, we've obviously the AJ Fury fight tomorrow night. Who do you reckon's going to win and why?
I can't see any other result than you can't pronounce it. Uzak. I hope Joshua beats him. I don't not that I hope, but you know he's from England, and I wish him well. And he's a great role model for young athletes and fighters, but I can't see him beating your man.
I'm very similar myself. I just don't think it.
The puncher's chance, and he's a big puncher, but I just can't see him beat him.
Well, listen, thanks very much for your time, and we'll catch up with you soon.